Just like previous transfer windows, this summer has also been a busy one for Ghanaian players in the various leagues. Some of the country's finest talents have sealed big money moves to some of Europe's best leagues, while others continue their developments as the 2023-2024 season takes shape. The biggest one obviously has to be Mohamed Kudus, who left Ajax after 3 years. The Right to Dream Academy graduate left Amsterdam to London, where he signed for Premier League side West Ham United. Kudus penned a 5-year deal with the club after leaving Ajax, where he played 87 games, scoring 27 goals and providing 12 assists. He also won 3 trophies during his 3-year stay at the club. Ernest Appiah Nuamah is also set for a maiden campaign in one of Europe's top 5 leagues after signing for Olympique Lyon. The French Ligue 1 side announced the capture of the 19-year-old on loan from Belgian side Molenbeek, who are owned by Eagle Football, same owners of Lyon. Nuamah's move to Lyon is expected to be made permanent at the end of the season. The 19-year-old has been on an incredible rise since joining Nordsjælland from the Right to Dream Academy and only enjoyed his first full top flight season during the 2022-2023 campaign. Mohamed Salisu is another one of those who have secured a move this summer. The Black Stars defender moved to France, where he signed for AS Monaco after leaving Championship side Southampton. The 24-year-old has penned a deal until 2028 and is expected to play a key role for the Ligue 1 side, who are looking to challenge for the league title this season. After his contract at Strasbourg expired at the end of the 2022-23 season, Alexander Djiku settled for Turkish side Fenerbahce despite interest from other clubs. The 28-year-old has already hit the ground running at the Super League outfit after signing a 3-year deal. Just like his national defensive partner, Daniel Amate also opted for a career in the Turkish league after leaving Leicester City following the end of his contract. He signed a 3-year deal with Besiktas after a long stint in England. With his contract terminated at Chelsea, Baba Rahman chose a return to Greece, where he signed for PAOK on a permanent deal. The left-back was with the club during the second half of the 2021-22 season, where he guided them to League Cup triumph. After just 6 months with Spartak Subotica, Black Stars midfielder Edmond Ado signed for Red Star Belgrade this summer. The player was second-time lucky after his initial move last summer fell through at the 11th hour. Benjamin Tete also took a new career path after a season Championship side Hull City. The Ghanaian secured a move to France, where he signed for Metz after injuries limited his playing time in England. After a successful individual campaign at the 2023 Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations and a strong start to the new season, Emmanuel Yeboah also sealed a move away from CFR Cluj. The forward signed for Danish side Brøndby on a long-term contract. Former Shooting Stars winger Christopher Bonsuban also became the latest Ghanaian to move to Genk, joining Joseph Fentel at the Belgian club. Bonsuban only played 12 games for Norwegian side Salzburg before his move to the Jupiler Pro League. Brahim Sulemana is one of the budding youngsters also to seal a move this summer after his maiden season with Hellas Verona, which also saw him help the club escape relegation. Sulemana joined newly promoted side Cagliari. Speaking after his move to the Serie A newcomers, the player expressed his delight at his new home and relishes the opportunity of playing under Italian manager Claudio Ranieri. With initial struggles in Portugal, Abdul Fattah Issahaku may have found an escape route, though only for a short period. The attacking midfielder on the eve of deadline day signed for Championship side Leicester City until the end of the 2023-24 season, joining from Sporting. Former Ghana Youth International Ibrahim Sadiq also signed a 5-year deal with Dutch side AZ Alkmaar after helping BK Häcken qualify for the group stages of this season's Europa League. Sadiq scored 27 goals in 43 appearances across all competitions during his 18-month stay with Häcken. In the goalkeeping department, Jojo Wallacott signed for Scottish Premiership outfit Hibernian Football Club. He joined the club in a permanent deal, having previously played for English side Charlton Athletic last season.
For the 8th year running, we bring you the end of the transfer deadline day. The final hours are upon us, and we are upon you as well. Hello and welcome to Joy News and Joy Prime, and also streaming on Joy News YouTube, and also streaming on Joy Sports Facebook, Joy News Facebook, and also Joy Prime YouTube. Facebook, sorry. I'm Gary L. Smith, and after 1,376 deals have been completed, £5.4 billion spent, a staggering amount, but the spending is not over yet, and that's why we're here. As we enter the final few hours of the summer transfer window and the scramble for the last-minute deals intensify, remember that the first games of the 2023-24 season have provided further evidence of which gaps need to be plugged and which players are surplus to requirements. From timings around Europe and beyond to squad registration rules, here is what you need to know. From now till the end of the window, we'll have you covered. When I come back from this, I'll tell you when the various windows close. But first of all, let's give you the numbers with our numbers man for today. Today, you don't call him Salamatu. You don't call him Tumu Jon Snow. We call him the numbers man.
That's right, Gary. And on this screen is where all the drama would unfold today on the transfer deadline day. Joy Deadline Day has got you covered. This interactive screen has got everything you need to know on the transfers. And we got it sorted by leagues, by price, and by even the sheer number of deals done. And as Gary mentioned in his intro, 1,377 human beings have been sold. In this transfer window alone, it's crazy, okay? £5.4 billion spent. That is a lot of money. And this is all leagues, especially across Europe. You can sort it by the latest transfer. And as you can see, Colin Dagba, Paris Saint-Germain to Auxerre. And that's what we, in fact, including your favorite club, we can go to, for example, which club has been very active in the transfer window today, especially Bayern Munich. They've had drama aplenty. Bella Kucha deal off. Palinha deal off. Chaloba deal off. They are struggling, my brother. They are struggling. It's not going well. So we've got this screen here that has every deal that's currently being worked on, that is completed, and will give you unraveled perspective on who is going here, where. And we're on, of course, from now till the transfer window slams shut at 10 p.m. Ghana time. So this is really your home of transfer deadline day, Joy Deadline Day, and of course, this screen has got you covered. Very soon, we'll go to Arsenal, see what's happening there.
Yeah, we'll be doing that pretty shortly, but let me introduce the guys in the studio. They'll be helping me with the analysis. Buko Maku says, a man is never what? Until he's wearing a man is never careful until he wears a white shirt and a what?
New car.
And a new car. Today, we don't have new cars, but we all have white shirts. You understand? So, to my left is Danny Cranton as well. Razak Musbao will be my co-host in a very special way. Razak, welcome as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. And behind, you know the way we do it at the election headquarters? Yeah. We have a strong room at the back there.
That's right.
We have a strong room.
Led by Mr. Dafiamapo.
Yes, exactly. As for him, today we owe him a lot of stuff. But thanks. We'll be getting an overview of everything so far.
Yes.
But just to give you an idea of when the transfer windows will close in the various countries. Obviously, in Ghana, it's been extended from today until the 8th of September. Right. There are a few countries where the transfer window in the men's game remains open for longer. And this is what you have on your screen. So Germany closed today at 1600. Italy at 6 p.m. today, France closes in an hour, just an hour. England closes at 10 p.m. our time. Ghana September 8th. Belgium September 6th. And the new kids on the block. Look, if you told any of us here that today we'll be adding Saudi Arabia to this list, we will call you. You say you are not correct. But this is
that is significant.
Yes,
September 7th. Because everybody must be careful with their players. Because when the England window closes and Saudi is still open, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. So please, this is an interactive show. We want this to be a conversation. We want you to enjoy yourselves. We would love to hear from you. Join us via the hashtag JoyDeadlineDay on the network formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. We will give you numbers at a point in the show. You can call in and rant. If your team is like Fentuo's team and they are not really serious, you can rant. If you happen to be a Nottingham Forest fan and you are going to buy the whole leagues, we will want to hear from you as well. We take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue what should be a fantastic end. Thank you for staying with us on Joy News and Joy Prime. This is Joy Deadline Day. The hashtag is Joy Deadline Day. Anything that you want in terms of insights, perspective, explanations for the moves, and whether a move has been confirmed or not, we will let you know. We'll activate the phone lines later for you to call in on some of the deals that have happened and will happen tonight. The person who will be confirming for us whether a deal is done or not, if he has not confirmed, it's not happened. He is basically the pink sheet. Fentuo Tahiru.
That's right. And Gary, before we go into any of that, so far as we indicated, £5.4 billion spent in this transfer window alone. 1,377 players have made moves. Just to give you an idea of where the money is being spent, incredibly, the Premier League, of course, leads the way in terms of the transfer. So I'm just going to sort out this in terms of the most money spent in each league, just to give you an idea of the most expensive transfers in each of the top 5 leagues, especially in Europe. So if we go to, for example, let's say the Premier League, and then we go to price, the most expensive player in the Premier League this season, in this transfer window, has to be Moses Caicedo, who joined Chelsea from Brighton for £115 million. Interestingly, it's followed by Declan Rice to Arsenal, also from West Ham United. He went for £105 million. And then the third highest transfer, Harry Kane, going to Bayern Munich for £100 million. So the most expensive transfers involving English clubs, or the top 3 well above the £100 million mark. Now, just to show you the power of the Premier League, let's compare that to the most expensive transfers in the other leagues. So let's go to Serie A, for example. And the most expensive transfer in Serie A involved a Premier League club, Manchester United, signing Rasmus Højlund for £64 million from Atalanta. It's not even up to £100 million in Serie A. Of course, Sandro Tonali, that's the second highest, most expensive transfer involving a Serie A club, also involved a Premier League club. Tonali going to Newcastle for £55 million. And the third highest, you guessed it, also involving a Premier League club, Andre Onana from Inter Milan to Man United for £44 million. It just tells you that it is impossible for anybody to do an expensive transfer now without a Premier League club, because that's where all of the money is. And it's not just Serie A. Let's go to another league. So let's go to France, I think, Serie A. Is somebody touching my screen elsewhere? Okay, thank you. Let's go to La Liga. There you go. Jude Bellingham, of course not involving a Premier League club, but Real Madrid showing their superpowers, £88 million for his signature from Borussia Dortmund. Matheus Cunha, the second highest, Atletico Madrid to Wolves. So Wolverhampton Wanderers, a mid-table club in the Premier League, is responsible for the second biggest transfer in La Liga this season. It's crazy. And then Ousmane Dembele, obviously joining PSG from Barcelona for 43 million. So those figures, nothing, they dwarf in comparison to what we have seen in the other leagues. Now, let's see the Bundesliga. Of course, it had to involve Bayern Munich, but again, involving a club in the Premier League. And you're looking at, of course, Harry Kane going for £100 million to Bayern Munich from Tottenham Hotspur. The second highest, Jude Bellingham, of course, going to Real Madrid. And then you've got Josko Gvardiol joining Manchester City for 77 million. And basically, it's what you have. For all the transfers that have happened across Europe, every single one of the most expensive ones involve an English Premier League club. And that's what we mean by the power of the Premier League. The Premier League is buying, they're spending the money in the other leagues, and the other leagues can't even afford to buy players from the Premier League any longer. So it is what it is. And if you look at the amount of money even spent, even judging by clubs, if you want to sort by, let's say, transfers by clubs, for example, Arsenal, Declan Rice, Florian Balogun, and we'll come back to tell you which players have moved from your club and which players your clubs have signed. So you can see those of Arsenal, Declan Rice has come in, they've transferred out Balogun, Kai Havertz has come in, Xhaka is gone, Jurriën Timber is coming, Matt Turner is gone, David Raya is coming, Austin Trusty is gone, Nicolas Pepe, of course, his loan ended, so he's back to the club. Pablo Mari is gone. And all of that. Nuno Tavares, of course, also out of the club. So when we come back, of course, we sort through the other clubs to tell you exactly which players your club has signed and which ones they have let go. We've quickly gone to Arsenal. There's so many other clubs to come here on the interactive screen.
Okay, so we've looked at the power of the Premier League and why they are such a juggernaut. Now, going into the Premier League literally sets you up for life. You know, as is the case for even those who have been freshly relegated. Leicester City were outside the Premier League for a while until in 2014 with Nigel Pearson, they came up. The following season, with 5,001 odds, there's no way to dance around this, they won the Premier League. Now, they've been there and thereabouts since 2014, 2015-16, until they've had a lot of financial issues and they've gone down. But it is widely expected that with some smart buying, some smart shopping, and some smart football, they can rebound back soon. In helping them to do this, they've got one of Ghana's promising stars, Abdul Fattah Issahaku, who completed a move to the King Power Stadium from Sporting CP on the eve of deadline day. It's my pleasure to welcome Owen Palmer-Atkin of BBC Radio Leicester to give us some perspective as to why Leicester have signed Ghana's star boy. Owen, thank you for joining us on Joy News.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So, Fattah Issahaku is, I don't know how to put this in a less dramatic way, one of the apples of our eyes here in Ghana. What do you think Leicester City saw in this young man?
Well, I think they saw a exciting young winger, exactly like you say. You know, this is a guy who has come through the youth ranks in the Ghanaian international team. I went to Sporting Lisbon. Didn't particularly maybe light up the show, but Enzo Maresca is a manager who likes to work with young players, likes to develop young players, and he's clearly seen something in what he showed at Sporting Lisbon and the other clubs that he's been at in order to bring him into the Championship to help Leicester get back to the Premier League. Now, he comes into a side there's a lot of right wingers in there already. He's going to have a lot of competition, but what better stage is there to have at this moment in time as a young winger under a side that are completely changing and completely evolving under a new manager, and we'll hope to be back in the Premier League next year. And as you rightly said, you become a Premier League player and it sets you up for life. And maybe that's, it helps both parties, doesn't it? If Fattah is able to help Leicester City get back into the Premier League.
Let's hear from Fattah himself. Owen, stay with us on why he made this move.
So happy, and this is an amazing moment for me. The coach told me how he wants to guide me, so I think I'm just happy to be here. this will be the best moment for me in my career.
Abdul, welcome. You're now a Leicester City player. How does it feel to be here?
Actually, I'm so happy, and this is an amazing moment for me, and I think I'm happy to be here.
Why did you feel like this was the right next step for you? Obviously, you're coming over from Portugal. Why was this the right move for you?
For me, from the look of Leicester and how I talked with the coach, I think here was the best for me. I chose Leicester because I think they can grow me well, and I get more mature than, yeah.
You mentioned about speaking to the manager, Enzo Maresca. What did he say to you?
Actually, he told me about the plans he got for me and how he wanted me to play, and so I think that was the best for me, so that's why I chose here.
And you've had a chance to look around the facilities here at the training ground. What have you made of it? What has been your first impressions of this?
For me, here, I think here is the best place for me to be, because the facilities I saw is the best, and I was so happy to see this, so I'm very happy.
Owen, you heard the man himself. He feels Leicester is the place to help him grow. You know the club better than we do here. What are the chances of Fatao's growth with the Foxes?
Well, I think when you look at Leicester's team right now, you look at a side that's being built with 19, 20, 21, 20-year-old players in it, and Leicester are going back to an old method of transfers where essentially they're trying to bring in young, good talent in order to grow them, and then whether they stay with the club and help the club be successful, or they move on to, you know, for a big fee to a bigger club like they did with Wesley Fofana a couple of summers ago. That's the way that Leicester City are going, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Fatau grows. And I think that a club like Leicester is probably the best place for him to be, because he's going to get opportunity. He's playing in a modern system under a modern manager, and he's in a fan base that really likes to see young players coming through and young players developing as well. So for me, if I was a young player, I'd probably want to go and sign for Leicester City as well, because it's a good place as a young player to go and play football. And as I say, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how he develops and hopefully get Leicester City back into the Premier League.
Let me give a comment of our Facebook here. Fifi Fanta says, Championship is one of the hardest leagues in Europe. If Fatau survives here, he can play anywhere. Do you agree with that?
They're probably right. The Championship is a division like no other in the world. How many divisions do you see where there's 24 teams in it that could all beat each other on any given day, and that you start the season where Leicester have come out of the Premier League, and yes, they've got the biggest budget, yes, they've got the best squad, yes, they should go back and get promoted, but there's no guarantees in that. This is not like the Premier League. So I would agree with that comment. If Fatau can come in, and if he can play well in the Championship, where it is so aggressive, it's so quick, the tempo is like no other. Really, you have to essentially run for 90 minutes straight. That there is no break in the Championship. So if he can do it here, then he can certainly do it in the Premier League. Right.
So Owen, let me introduce you to my lads in the studio. So there's Danny, there's Razak, and Fent. Hello, everybody.
Good to meet you.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah, go around the table.
What's the latest on Patson Daka? I've seen reports that he possibly could be moving to Bournemouth from Leicester.
Yeah, so Patson Daka hasn't played a single minute for Leicester so far this season. Obviously, £23 million man a couple of years ago in that summer transfer window. But has he developed as well as Leicester would have hoped? Probably not. And the club are looking clearly to move him on. And the development of Daka heading to Bournemouth seems to be picking up pace quite quickly. And if that move was to happen between now and the deadline at 11 o'clock UK time, then I would not be surprised. So there are reports coming out from The Athletic and from a few other organisations as well that are saying that move is moving quite quickly. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But a move for Patson Daka to Bournemouth would not be surprising for me at all.
All right. Owen, thank you very much. And please pass on the message. Take care of our boy.
We will.
Take care of our boy. Thank you very much. Owen from BBC Radio Leicester, absolute star as well. Guys, so let me just...
Daniel is a big fan of Fatal.
Of Fatal, I know, right? Joseph Afari Donko says, risky but best move. And Rob Ankuma says, Fatal definitely needs to work on his game. And I think that in all his interviews, he was very honest about it. And I like that, Danny, right?
Yeah, very honest. He says, basically, he knows he's not matured. He knows he has to grow. But the interesting thing about this boy is he has... If you are taking him by a checklist, he has all the tools. Is he quick? Yes, he's quick. Can he dribble? Yes, he can dribble. Does he have a good shot technique? Yes. Good passing technique? Yes. But it's just about molding the overall game style. And that's what I feel he hasn't had the patience throughout his career. When you look at his football education here in Ghana, it's obviously not going to take you to elite level. At Sporting Lisbon, we thought you would get that. But unfortunately for him, Ruben Amorim, then time no day. So he sent him to the B team, and we've seen this now. He's come to Leicester City. My only worry is the fact that it's a loan deal. And maybe if he has a very good time under Enzo, he may have to return to Sporting Lisbon, and we don't know how that will pan out. But for Leicester City, I think Owen has been spot on with it. It's the perfect team for him. The championship means that he'll be guaranteed minutes. It's 46 games in the league season alone. And that is more games than a Premier League team will probably play the entire season, because the cup games are not guaranteed. But for Fatal, 46 league games, it's a lot. And he mentioned the competition that he will have to face in the Leicester City team. The fact that the championship sometimes even play midweek and then weekends, there will be a lot of time for him to be oriented into this team. And hopefully, next year around this time, we'll see a much better, a much well-rounded Fatai Issahaku.
Fento, I'll come to you, but Godfrey Pogo says, great move, the future of the Black Stars is bright. Razak, has there been too much pressure like this on this young man? And should we tone down the pressure and the hype?
I think, yes, maybe we should tone down the hype. I think it's part of the reason why, when we heard that he's not going to be part of the Sporting CP senior team at the start of the season, all of us got concerned and we're waiting to see where he will end up. It's very fortunate for him to end up at Leicester City. Really fine club. But when I was watching that interview, all I could see in his eyes is that he's gotten a huge opportunity. It was almost like he's been praying every day and night that somebody should come and take me. And all of a sudden, Leicester City came to grab him. All I can say that I just hope that he takes good advantage of this, show what he's capable of doing, because it's a championship. If you really perform at a very good level, Manchester United is looking at you. Yeah. Arsenal is looking at you. They can easily snap you. So I just think you should take good advantage of it. And you might just definitely, if he does well, I'm very sure that Fatai Issahaku will get a club.
Sporting need money. Everybody is selling for 100 million these days. If he does well, he's going to get it. Please, more comments like what I've read are welcome. Joy Deadline Day is the hashtag. Keep them coming. And we are here till 10:30. Thanks.
Yes. Transfers to keep an eye on today on Deadline Day. There's a lot happening, obviously. Several players have been signed already. Today, Man United completed a loan signing of Amrabat, of course, from Fiorentina, and he's going to be there until the end of the season. Today as well, Calum Hudson-Odoi has completed a move from Chelsea. So he's also left Chelsea on a permanent deal. It's been a deal that has been coming for a long time. Another deal to keep an eye on, Rob Holding is undergoing a medical at Crystal Palace, and that deal should be confirmed anytime soon. Another deal to keep an eye on today, of course, in case I didn't mention, of course, Calum Hudson-Odoi has gone to Nottingham Forest. And Forest have been signing a lot of players. They have been linked to Bakayoko. You remember him from his time at Chelsea. And it looks like a player that could also end up there. Chelsea have been very active in today's transfer window as well. but they seem like they will be keeping Conor Gallagher, who was linked to Tottenham Hotspur. And according to the reports, Spurs and their valuation of the player is way below what Chelsea expect to get for him. So the expectation is that he will stay at the club. Man United have already signed one player for Tottenham Hotspur in Reguilon, the left back. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg was also reported to be on his way out of Spurs. Man United were actually interested in him initially, but now that United have signed Amrabat, it looks like that deal may not happen after all. Another deal to keep an eye on, Kasper Schmeichel, the former Leicester City goalkeeper, who, of course, won the league with them in 2016. He spent last season on loan at Nice. Okay, now the report is that he's cancelled his deal with Nice and is available on a free. Suddenly, that is a big transfer, a big potential for any Premier League club to go and swoop for. So Chelsea need a goalkeeper. Hello? I don't know. But also, Neil Maupay, you remember him? Brentford, they've reached an agreement to sign him. It's a bit of a nostalgia deal because he's played for them in the past and they've been looking for a striker to come in. So we'll see whether that actually happens or it doesn't. João Cancelo, keep an eye on that. The reports are that Arsenal were linked, but now it looks like the news coming in is that it looks like he could be sealing a move to FC Barcelona. He spent last season on loan at Bayern Munich. At the end of the season, he didn't really play much. And City, also some of the things that he said before he left, it didn't look like he's coming back to Man City at all. And so a club was interested, and now the reports are that Barcelona are bringing him on board. Going out of Barcelona would be Eric Garcia. He's gone to Girona on loan. You remember him, also a former Man City player. Yeah. He spent, 2 years at Barcelona. Suddenly, he's out and out of favor. And it hates me to say this, but it's important for us to keep an eye on Mohamed Salah. £200 million is how much Al-Ittihad are bidding for him, or are reportedly preparing to bid for him. That deal may not happen today. It may not even happen this window. But the Saudi transfer window closes on the 7th of September. He's an Arab player. His pull power is amazing. And so anything is really possible. So we have to mention that is a deal that you can keep an eye on. Here's another deal that you need to keep an eye on. Randal Colomwani, striker. A striker that scored a lot of goals in Germany. He's gone to Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain needed to replace Neymar after he moved to Saudi Arabia, and they've got their man. Colomwani is the one going there. Sambi Lokonga, a player that Daniel had a lot of fun talking about in the past, came in, was supposed to be the big partner for Thomas Partey in the Arsenal midfield. It hasn't really worked out, and so he's gone. Okay, he is going, of course, also to Luton Town. And Luton Town are signing a lot of players this window as well, trying to keep their squad fresh and ready for the new season. Nottingham Forest have signed a lot of players, I think over 10 players so far this window. They've also signed a 21-year-old Ireland international, and his name is, and Daniel will love this, Andrew Omobamidele.
Omo what?
Omobamidele.
Omo.
He's a 21-year-old Irish defender, and he's completed his move to Nottingham Forest, of course. Divock Origi, is closing in on a deal to Nottingham Forest.
We'll talk about the Nottingham Forest and why.
And Luka Jovic is also going to AC Milan.
Yeah.
So that deal is also completed. And Hervé Lozano, a few years ago, he looked like the new kid on the block, played for PSV, went away. Now he's back. He went to Napoli. It didn't really work out too well for him. He's gone back to PSV.
They said he was going to be the next Luis Suarez.
There you go. There you go. And this is going to blow your minds. Mark Van Bommel has signed a new 2-year deal with Royal Antwerp.
To be the coach, obviously.
Yes.
Obviously not the player.
Not as a player. He retired a long time ago. Anyway, so these are deals to keep an eye on. Obviously, there's a few more that we'll update along the line.
Right. It's not only about the updating of the deals, but we want to be here because we know all of you have internet. So we are here to provide some perspective. Couple questions.
Also, by the way, the Gravenberch move to
I was coming to that.
Completed now.
George Bar Ado says, I hope the Gravenberch deal to Liverpool collapses.
It doesn't. I actually have a picture.
They have a picture.
done.
Oh, George Adu, I'm sorry. It's happened.
It is done.
Joe Spencer says he's watching.
And João Felix to Barcelona.
Has already happened as well.
Yes.
Eduji Derek Benetton says he's watching live from Adidome in the Volta region. What do you make of Palmer's move to Chelsea? I see it to be unnecessary. Quick.
I think it's not unnecessary. Chelsea need a player like that. Of course, it's going to provide some competition for someone like Noni Madueke. And of course, with the unavailability of Christian Nkunku, for instance, Christopher Nkunku, I think they need what do you call it? They definitely need someone like that to provide some creativity. You could tell that Chelsea need some creative player, and I think Cole Palmer showed it in the Super Cup. A few games he's had Manchester City, he showed it, and he clearly also need opportunity to play. And it looks like Chelsea will be the right place for him. So it's good. It's a good move. But the question is, look at all the players Chelsea has signed from Brazil. Loan all of them out to Strasbourg, and you wonder why they're going to spend 45 million on Cole Palmer.
We'll come to that. Sizeless Scanner says, what do Al Ittihad need Mohamed Salah for, and why do they need him? Well, you are in luck because we have a handy graphic to explain the situation, why they want Mo Salah. Why would they, put 150 million? So reason number one that we got is that Mo Salah is the most popular Arab player in the Middle East and North Africa. You can add the Gulf as well, far and away. So they need him because he gives instant brand recognition. Now, get this. They say if they sell him, they've crunched the figures, and he's going to give them an estimated shirt sale value of $10 million per season. Wow. That's what Mo Salah is going to give them. He's hugely marketable as an asset to Saudi's increasing youth population. And like in most countries in the world, the youth are the biggest demographic in Saudi right now. Remember also that Al Ittihad are undergoing a mega team project which already has Karim Benzema from Real Madrid earlier in the window, Fabinho from Liverpool, and N'Golo Kante from Chelsea as well. So these are the four reasons. He's the most popular Arab player in the Middle East and North Africa, instant brand recognition, hugely marketable, and they want to add him as the cherry on top of their spending spree, and also basically as the face of it as well. Are they crazy to have asked for him on this day of all days? Because Liverpool were never going to sell, right? Were Liverpool going to sell today?
No, Liverpool.
For no amount.
But they are not crazy for wanting him.
No.
It makes perfect sense. The graphic has explained exactly why they want him and need him. But it's a matter of, it's just a matter of time. He will go.
He will go.
Because we heard rumors about the fact that he's been interested, the money has been tempting, and he's basically going back home. If he goes to Saudi Arabia, that is very close to home. So it will make a lot of sense if in the next couple of months, I'll not be surprised if they come again in January. I don't think that will be likely, but next summer, I think Liverpool fans just need to brace themselves. Salah is going.
Nice one. Breaking news for all Ghanaians. I've been told that Mohamed Kudus is coming on for West Ham United. He's making his debut for West Ham United. We would have loved for him to start, obviously. But yeah, we'll take what we'll get. Great times, isn't it?
I mean, great time.
We are all Hammers.
We are all Hammers.
We are all Hammers. We are all Hammers.
A stadium there. Hopefully we get him.
Yes. After we'll get a live interview from West Ham, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we all Hammers. Big move for Mohamed Kudus. I'm just hoping if we can get a goal. There were questions about West Ham, the way West Ham, is structured, and whether it's going to work for him. Whether it's going to work for him. There've been questions about that, but whatever be the case, the player says it's a good opportunity for him. Even the English Premier League itself is massive for him. And I think West Ham is going to be a stepping stone for Mohamed Kudus, because clearly that's not the future of Mohamed Kudus. He has a spot in Manchester United. He could have a spot in Chelsea. Could have a spot in Arsenal. So at West Ham, he was able to...
Bossman, we want him to have a spot in Real Madrid, you see, and Bayern, and, stratospheric clubs.
But the way Madrid are, though, it's rare to see Madrid look at West Ham United. So you go to Manchester United.
But you have to be that good.
Anyway, Daniel, I'm interested in it because you've been talking about this a lot. All of the questions about the style of play at West Ham and how it doesn't suit Mohamed Kudus. Can you just explain to us why that move makes sense for both player and team?
There are aspects of his game that will be very useful to this West Ham team. That is facts. I think the large concern is about the fact that when you look at his career progression, especially in club football, Nordsjælland, Ajax have a style that is very common with Brighton. And that is possession, very attacking style of football. So that is something that he's used to. At West Ham United, it will be similar to what he does with Black Stars. Yeah, playing on the back foot, not having a lot of the ball. But again, there are aspects of his game that will suit that. It's just about him taking advantage of it and making the best of it.
And you know, for me, I think the most important element of this move for me has to be what value the transfer adds to Mohamed Kudus. And I'm not just talking about the value in terms of even his style of play or his football itself, but the value in terms of his image rights and his stardom. And these things are all very important because Mohamed Kudus is a brand. He's not just a talented footballer, because that's the next level. He has to get to the point where he becomes a model. He becomes a Mohamed Salah. The reason Mohamed Salah is as popular as he is isn't just because he's a brilliant footballer, which he is. It's also because Mohamed Salah is very recognizable. It's a massive brand. It's important for Mohamed Kudus to get to that level. And Salah was putting up similar numbers in Roma, but nobody cared until he came to Liverpool. So that's the power of the media, the marketability of the Premier League. That's what it does to a player. And Mohamed Kudus just needs to score up to 10 goals in the Premier League. He just needs to nick one against Man United and nick one against Liverpool, and everybody will be talking about Mohamed Kudus. He's got the looks, he's got the physique, he's got the talent, he's got the intelligence to be a proper superstar brand, like the David Beckham of Africa. And I'm not even exaggerating. And for me, I think Mohamed Kudus has a decent season at West Ham United. He goes straight into Man United. They'll become calling. Players have had far less average seasons, and United are buying them. And when United buy them, suddenly they look like the biggest players in the world. I think that's going to happen. And Mohamed Kudus, I think his biggest nemesis is staying fit. If he stays fit, he will find spaces in that West Ham team to actually thrive. Bowen is thriving. He's an attacking player in a very defensive West Ham team. Nobody's complaining. In fact, he played at West Ham and got an international call-up for playing at West Ham and doing well. And he's an offensive player. So Kudus can thrive at that West Ham team. They're very attack-minded when it comes to their own style, counter-attacking. Kudus has a great ball-striking ability. He's got speed. His hold-up play is fantastic. And Kudus, I said, just need to stay fit. Score 10 goals, and the next level would come. The path to success is not necessarily linear, okay? It's not guaranteed that you go from Nordsjælland to Ajax and then to Bayern Munich or to Real Madrid. Sometimes you need to take a step back. And for me, that step back is actually a step forward, because the Premier League, and that's the paradox, the Premier League, it doesn't matter which club you play for, it's a massive, massive deal. And for Kudus Mohamed, I think he didn't imagine that he would be playing for West Ham. But when he saw the opportunity to play for West Ham, he grabbed it based on all of the factors I have currently expounded.
Gary, one question to you though. I mean, there's a certain pressure that comes with playing the English Premier League. Mm-hmm. It's something that Kudus is not used to. It wasn't under so much pressure at Ajax or at Nordsjælland. But when you come to the English Premier League, you look at the kind of publicity that came with Kudus being announced, at West Ham and all of that. Do you think that pressure can get to Kudus? And if it does get to him, we've seen players come at West Ham. Sebastian Haller didn't do well, moved out. We've seen even Ajax players go to some other teams, struggled a bit. Is it going to affect Kudus in any way?
I have just one answer to this question. And I'll be a typical Ghanaian and ask you a question to the question. Are we talking about the player who was going to play in the FIFA World Cup game, sent a text message to all his friends that today I will score 2 and score 2? Is that the player we are talking about? Wait till Musa no go see for Abattoir. I mean, it's Kudus Mohamed.
Kudus can deal with the pressure.
Kudus is, for every single stage of his career, they went to get him at the Ghana national team. People said, remember what he did?
He scored on his debut.
On his, like, every single stage he has been given, we are told that right from his under 12 days to his Right to Dream days, when they were traveling for what they call the Gothia Cup, the bigger the opposition, the bigger the performance. Check Liverpool's records of when they played Norgeland and they played him. They had a special mention for him, like players to note, because it was Liverpool that was coming to town. And he's always done that for Ajax. You know, he knew it was going to be his last game. And some people have said, you know, we saw it on social media, that they felt it was arrogant, that after the game he was asked if this was his last game. And he said, I think so. Because, you know, the media training a lot of players get is to say, I'm not sure, and that I'm not thinking about it. But this is Kudus. He wears his confidence on his sleeve.
He's not a liar. So.
He's also not a liar, of course. And look, everything shows that this guy is ready for the big time. The biggest obstacle to Kudus Mohammed is Kudus Mohammed himself, I'm thinking. Anyway, so since we are on him, if you have not been privy to some of the stuff that went on in his really, really high-profile treatment from the Western media, this is a few of Kudus unveiling and, you know, whatever happened with him at West Ham.
Yeah, you know, been dreaming to play in a league like this since I was a kid. So just taking each day by itself and just following my dream, and then we are here today. But it doesn't stop here. We keep writing history and then keep going.
Yeah. So excited to see you play in a West Ham shirt. For anyone who's not seen you play, any West Ham fans who haven't seen you play before, how would you describe the way you play?
I like to entertain the fans because I feel that's what football is about. My dribbling ability, strength, finishing also, you know, yeah. So I'm just here to do my best to help the team, you know. So the fans should expect some entertainment.
Oh man,
that's unbelievable. Excited. That's unbelievable to hear. As a former player, but a West Ham fan, hearing that you're here to entertain and excite the fans, it makes me excited. You can see the grin on my face. I'm excited to see you put on that shirt and excite fans here at the London Stadium. Leaving Ajax and scoring a hat-trick, knowing that it's going to be your last game, how did that feel?
Felt good. For me, the situation I was in as a player, the job I could do was just to do my job on the pitch, and I just did it on the pitch.
The reason why I say that, sorry to cut, the reason why I say that is because as a player, you know, like if there's talk of you going to another team and you're playing a game, in the back of your mind, you might be thinking, oh, I don't want to get injured. But you went out there and scored a hat-trick. Like, that shows to me personally, as a fan sitting here talking to you, the mindset that you've got is different to a lot of other players.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm on the pitch, all the noise outside, it stays there. So everything on the pitch is fully on the pitch. So my full focus was on that game, even though there were other stuff going off the pitch. And that's the job of my family and my agent to take care of that, and fully focused on the pitch. So, and I live in the present moment. So at that exact moment, I was at Ajax. So I was just doing my best for the badge. And you see the same thing over here.
Yeah, there was a lot of West Ham fans watching that game. I was watching that game. I wanted to ask you about the interview you did immediately after the game. The toughest interview I've ever seen a footballer get. You were completely grilled, but you said in that interview, West Ham, good club, and a lot of West Ham fans were like, oh wow, this could actually happen. Did you get a sense of how excited West Ham fans were?
Yeah, but definitely before the game, I knew there was it was almost done in between the talks of the club, so I just felt of just giving what was going to happen, you know, and that was literally it.
Yeah, so West Ham fans were waiting for him. They got him. Somebody who watched him play for just a few minutes, because he was brought on around the 90th minute, a few minutes to the end of the game, is Rahman Osman, and he's in Luton because that's where West Ham United won their game. Rahman, thank you so much for joining us live on Joy Deadline Day.
Hi, Gary. Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you clearly, my friend. How was the game?
Well, it was a really good game. For large part, West Ham were really good. And then Ewing got a goal in the end. And he made it time frantic and nervous in the end. And like you rightly said, Mohamed Kudus came on for the last 5 minutes. Maybe 3 touches, 4 touches, but that will break the ice, won't it?
It will break the ice. Do you reckon that they didn't want to throw him in too early? But isn't it, how should I put this? Do you think that they wanted maybe a home game to start him in or give him a bigger chunk of time?
I thought the plan was to bring him on today earlier than it was. But what Moyes was trying to do was to make sure the win was secured. So once the second goal game, because he was the only one left to warm up for a very long time. Normally when that happens, it means that there's a plan to bring him on. But the game was not won. It was hard to tell if it was really won. And so he had to wait and wait. And once he put him on, they conceded. So you could see the whole nervousness. But he was definitely meant to come on earlier than this, if the game had been won a bit much more earlier.
Rahman, you're outside, I can see. What was the general buzz like when Kudus came on? Maybe from the press box, from what you heard?
I've got to say there's a really big buzz from the West Ham press team on Ghana, because the reaction that Kudus has had since he was announced was really impressive. And I think they used a Ghanaian British guy when they were making the announcement. And I spoke to Rob, who just said to me that they've been impressed with the way he's been received back home in Ghana, and the feeling they have with Kudus so far is that he's kind of a really nice guy and quite determined and level-headed, and they're all hoping that he can really cut it here in the Premier League. It's early days here, but as with every other big signing, the club are happy, the fans are happy. It's just a matter of if he can be able to cut it and make it big time for them.
Yeah, Rahman, final question. Razak is here, Danny here, Fence is here. Razak, quick question for him before he goes. I'm sure he's supposed to catch the train or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Rahman, but based on, how you saw Kudus perform, there's
only 5 minutes, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but in terms of how West Ham is structured, because that's been the big question, how West Ham is structured and, how he's going to fit into that team. For the few minutes that you saw him play, what's been your assessment of it?
I think it will be hard to play through the 10 because Paqueta is really good. And it's going to be a very good competition. And West Ham has spent the money from Declan Rice quite really well. They brought in Alvarez, they brought in McKinney, and they brought in James Ward-Prowse. So James is actually really, really good, and especially when it comes to picking. But this is the Premier League. The competition is going to be quite keen. And if you follow Kudus' story all from the beginning, he's a fighter, he's a competitor. He will find his level and he will contribute to this team. Moyes has a record of giving opportunities to players. When Benrahma first came here, a lot of people didn't think he would be quite crucial. And now he's been able to find himself, and last season he was a key part of the team that won the Conference League. So Kudus has every tool to make it. I like the challenge. I like the fact that he's decided to come to this league where it's much more tougher than the Dutch league, and in a team where he will get the opportunity to make his own mistakes and eventually find his own feet. As I speak to you, he's out again on the pitch now, warming up with those who didn't play and those who just played for the last few minutes.
Nice one. Rahman, thank you very much. I know you have to file your reports and stuff like that. We'll have a bigger and better conversation later, and safe trip from Luton to your home in London. Thank you so much for your time. Bye. And we'll also say a 5-minute bye to you because we have to go and make money, get commercial break.
Quick update before we go. Mason Greenwood, of course, he was supposed to go to Lazio. That deal collapsed because the Italian window is shut already. Now there's a window that's opened for him, and he is reportedly on his way to Getafe.
89.7 FM.
Yeah, welcome back, and this is Joy Deadline Day. We are live on the Joy News channel and also live on Joy Prime. We are on all the Facebook channels, Facebook pages there on Joy Prime and on Joy News. You want to keep the comments coming too on Twitter, #Joy Deadline Day. We're going to go to the screen and pick some of your thoughts, so just keep the comments coming too. We've spoken of Mohamed Kudus, we've done for Tawi Sahaku, another Ghanaian player who has also gotten an opportunity to play at a very top club, is Ernest Nuamah, and he's gone to Olympique Lyon. And that's big move for him after, had his stint at Norgeland, impressed there. And also even at the Black Meteors level, also impressed. Even got a Black Stars debut for himself. So it's big move for him there. Daniel Krantz is there, Gary is here. Daniel, let me come to you about Ernest Nuamah, big opportunity. And I'm particularly impressed about this window because of the Ghanaian players. Yeah. The players that people describe as the future of the Black Stars getting such huge opportunities.
Yeah, the good thing for me about this Nuamah move is not just the league he's going to, because we know the French league has been degraded to number 7 ever since.
It's no more in the top 5.
Yeah, since Messi left. But for Ernest Nuamah, it's the club he's going to. That's what's exciting me. Olympique Lyon is one of the biggest teams in France, if not the biggest team in France, and whatever you do there is magnified, and the spotlight is at Olympique Lyon. So you look at the likes of the big transfers that have come out of that team in the past 5-6 years. We saw Paqueta leave Lyon to the Premier League. We saw Lacazette leave Lyon to the Premier League. When the big teams are watching some of these smaller leagues, they watch the bigger teams in those leagues. So the likes of PSG, Marseille, Lyon, and whatever he does there is going to be magnified. For me, he has an exceptional talent. He's a brilliant player. There's space in this Lyon team for him because we know that they've lost some of their players during this transfer window. There's a space there for him to go and burst onto the scene and make a name for himself. And the French league suits players of his style. You look at the likes of Dembele, you look at Mbappe, these wide wingers who have the ability to exploit spaces. And I think it's a very good move for him. But of course, it's not something that we expect him to stay there for a very long time. Yeah. He also needs to make that career the next step. But I think this is the right move for him.
Well, the player himself has been speaking after he made the move. Let's hear from him.
It's Ernest Nuamah. I'm 19 years old and I come from Ghana in a city called Kumasi, and I live in a small town called Asafo.
You're a name that was discussed a lot during this transfer window. Apparently a lot of clubs were interested in signing you, and yet you are here. Why did you choose to come here? Why did you choose this project?
Yeah, I think it was the right choice, and a lot of clubs were interested in me, and there was a lot of discussion, but what was important was the best move for me, and I felt like this is the best move, and I still want to develop as a player and continue playing, so I feel like Lyon is the best move. Yeah.
So why did you think that Lyon was the best choice in your career at this point? What made the difference between and what helped you to make this choice?
Is how the team is structured and how they play, and I feel like I'll fit more in the style of play, and yeah.
And the fact that they give a lot of playing time to your youth players as well, yeah. Okay. Obviously, we know that Michael Essien, who is a legend here, was at your former club. Did he play a part in your move? Did he convince you to join the club?
I didn't really talk to him much about it, but I know he played here, and he's also a legend from Ghana, but he didn't really play much part in it, but the decision was from me and my
Yeah, that's Ernest Nuamah there. Well, another Ghanaian player who got to move away from Leicester City is Daniel Amartey. I mean, in fact, in the very ending of the season, he fell out of, in terms of the pecking order. Even couldn't get even a place on the bench. Shocking, but he's now in Turkey with Besiktas. Gary.
Well, the English Premier League likes to say that when you don't get a place there, then they ship you off to Turkey. Yeah. It's been a running joke for years, But the Turkish league has built a solid brand in that vein, like that, taking the so-called rejects from the Premier League, mostly rehabilitating them and bringing them right back into the top 5, because it is as competitive as any league in the world. It's intense. Emotionally, psychologically, you have to be up there. And I think that is what makes players want to go there and come back. We've seen it with lots, even with the Ghanaian players. Andre, Apia, So it's a place where they like to go. Jiku hopefully will have that as well. And for Daniel Amartey, what does he need to do at this stage of his career? He does some things well and some things not too well. I mean, his flaws are very, very apparent. They say he doesn't have turning, right? He's your That's a very Ghanaian thing. Yeah, they say he doesn't have turning. Only turning. He's your archetypal hard defender. When it comes to the technicalities, he can be found wanting, and he will thrive in Turkey in that one. I don't know if he can come back into something like the Premier League. He can definitely come back to any team that probably gets a promotion.
Go to Saudi.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So I think he will do well, and I think it's a good move for him, all things considered, as well. And I'm quite happy for him also.
Well, of course, he'll be playing alongside, Wilfred Zaha is in there. Even this Alex Chamberlain.
Okshambo. Rehabilitation.
Yeah, so he's also there. But let's get to Fento now and get update on, the top transfers among the top 4 clubs in the English Premier League. After that, we have something special coming your way. Fent.
Yeah, that's right. And, you mentioned the Ghanaian transfers. Today on deadline day, Sadiq Ibrahim made a move from BK Häcken in the Swedish league to AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. Now, Ibrahim Sadiq is one of those players that played in the Under-17 World Cup in 2017 alongside Kudus Mohammed. And he himself, he went to Nordsjælland with Kudus. It didn't quite work out for him there. And then he got frustrated, left Nordsjælland, and then went to BK Häcken, where he's had a phenomenal last 18 months, if you like. And this season has only just started in Sweden. It started earlier than the rest of the leagues. And he's already scored 22 goals in 24 games overall. And in the Europa League last night, he scored 2 goals to power BK Häcken to the Europa League group stages just before he went to sign for AZ Alkmaar, who themselves will be playing in Europe next season. So it's really good to see that another product from that U17 team in 2017 is making headway now back into the limelight, even if his path has been a little bit, wobbly in that sense. But he's here now, and congratulations to him. Also, like we promised you, the transfers by clubs, we'll go to the top 4 clubs, if you like. I don't know when they forced the conversation into a top 6, but it's always been a top 4. Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, and of course Arsenal. Now it's impossible to do it without Man City. So the top 5, Spurs 2 are trying to force themselves into the conversation. So now top 6. But we begin with Arsenal. Chelsea didn't even finish in the top 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 last season. So I don't know. But Arsenal have been very busy this transfer window. Players they've brought in: David Raya, a goalkeeper. They brought in Declan Rice, 105 million. Jurrien Timber, Kai Havertz, Nicolas Pepe has returned on leave. And that's all they've brought in this summer. They've sent out a lot of players, okay? Just now, Nathan Batla is gone to Cheltenham on loan. Nuno Tavares is gone to Nottingham Forest on loan. Folarin Balogun is gone to Monaco for £34 million. He spent last season on loan in France. Kieran Tierney is gone to Real Sociedad on loan. Tyrese John Jules, Brooke Norton-Coffey, Runa Alex Ronison, Marquinhos, Charlie Patino, Matt Turner, Maitland-Niles, we mentioned him earlier, Mika Beret, Austin Trusty, Ben Cottrell, Pablo Mari, Hubert, Grashak, Billy Viga, Mauro Bandera, Granit Xhaka, Mazid Agumbo, Nicola Mola, Matt Smith, all of them released from Arsenal. So they have been very, very busy in the transfer window in terms of outgoings, but not nearly as busy as their London neighbours, Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea have signed 16 players this window alone. 16 players this window alone. Okay? Cole Palmer, the latest to join. Georgi Petrovic, they signed a goalkeeper. Serbian. David Washington, they signed him from Santos. Brazilian. Romeo Lavia, 53 million. Caicedo. Robert Sanchez, a goalkeeper. So 2 goalkeepers this window alone. They did sell 2 goalkeepers as well. We'll get to that. Azel Disasi, Leslie Ugochukwu, Angelo Gabriel, Ish Samuel Smith, Calum Hudson-Odoi returned on loan. Now he's gone, of course, to Nottingham Forest. Alex Matos came in. Diego Moreira, Nicholas Jackson, Dijon Richards, Christopher Nkunku, Kendrick Pius, all came in. And look at the list of the outgoings. It is unbelievable. And this just to give you an idea. Chelsea's list of players they brought in ends here, 16. But the players they have sent out continues. And watch how much longer that line continues. Pulisic, John Rakinat, Datro Fofana, Abdulbaba Rahman, Aspilicueta, Mason Mount, Loftus-Cheek, Kai Havertz, Kovacic, Koulibaly, Kante, Baxter. I'm tired. Let's go to a different club. The list just goes on and on and on. What you need to know, 36 players Chelsea have shipped out. All right? Let's now check out Man United. Of course, how many players they have brought in this summer, and then how many they have sold. Okay, fine. I think I see Liverpool here. Right, let's just do Liverpool. All right, they brought in Endo, midfielder, Szoboszlai, midfielder, McAllister, midfielder. 3 signings from Liverpool this summer. They've shipped out a lot of players. Oxlade-Chamberlain, you see him there. The most notable ones, Nathan Phillips, James Norris, Lucas Stephenson. They've also shipped out Fabinho, as you're aware, Jordan Henderson, and quite a few other players, as you see in the list there. Robert Firmino, also the most notable one, and Fabio Carvalho is gone on loan. So Liverpool themselves have been very active in terms of outgoings. And this is saying something about the players and about the clubs, of course, and their activity this transfer window. Let's look at Man City and then Man United. Matheus Nunes, they just signed him from Wolverhampton Wanderers because they couldn't get Paqueta. They've since signed him from Wolves. Jeremy Doku has also coming from Rennes. If the name sounds familiar, that's because it is. He's of Ghanaian heritage, played for Rennes. Wonderful winger. Okay, Jasko Vadio, 77 million, defender from Leipzig, and then Kovacic. These are the players Man City have signed. They've let go of Cole Palmer, as you're aware, he's gone to Chelsea. A few other academy players have gone on loan. Aymeric Laporte, they've sold him to Al Nassr. He's gone to Saudi Arabia as well. And then those, of course, are the most notable outgoings, including Riyad Mahrez, who's also gone to Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia for some 30 million. Benjamin Mendy, after his court case has also been released, he's gone back to Ligue 1, and that's where he is now. Now, let's check out, finally, Manchester United and their activity in the transfer window. Who have they brought in? Sergio Reguilón, okay, on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, they've signed a young player from Turkey, Fenerbahce. His name is Altay Bayinde. They've signed Rasmus Højlund, who is a striker. Andre Onana is a goalkeeper. Johnny Evans, they've signed him on a free transfer. Mason Mount, of course, has also come in from Chelsea, 55 million. Their outgoings, we stick with the most notable ones. Fred is gone to Fenerbahce, so no more McFred in midfield, unfortunately, for a lot of ASU fans. Anthony Elanga is also gone. You know him, the Swedish international. He's gone to Nottingham Forest. Alex Telles, this guy was supposed to be the next big left back, and I remember a good friend of mine, when he was coming, he was unbelievable. He said he'll be sending in the crosses. Wow, wow, wow. He's gone to Al Nassr. The only wow he'll be doing is counting money. Okay, Alex Telles is gone. David De Gea, the most dramatic transfer at Man United this season was the release of David De Gea. He's gone as a free agent. And then some of their most talented youth players, Iqbal was supposed to be the next Zidane. He literally has Zidane in his name. Didn't have any. Axel Twanzembe, they insulted him because he was mistakes prone. So they released him. Phil Jones, finally, after what seemed like
10 years.
Zidane. After what seemed like forever. Razak, I'm sure you've been watching Phil Jones ever. He started watching football. He is finally not a Man United player and basically wrapping up Man United transfer activity. So more outgoings, every single one of these clubs, than incomings, even for Chelsea.
Okay, so one of the interesting things with Man United is the African player who I think should already, I tweeted that he should already be a Manchester United legend even before he kicks a ball. Because for Sofyan Amrabat to insist, I'm sure if he could have gone for a hunger strike, he would have. He would have called his mother like Rubiales to also do a hunger strike on his behalf. To have forced the move the way he did was remarkable. You know, when was the last time a player did that? I mean, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Yeah, the Ajax contingent. The season Kudus wanted to leave. That's 2 seasons ago. Or last transfer window. Anthony skipped training. There was another guy.
Well, even in Germany, Colum Wani himself at Frankfurt, you know,
Mateus Nunes
literally wrote.
Mateus Nunes went on strike. That's just the guy I was thinking.
Mateus Nunes.
Yeah.
So, Amrabat, if we will have the video to show you, do a deep dive for about 5 minutes. Danny, what does he bring and why do Man United need somebody of his profile? Anytime we have that video, please show us. It's a compilation of some of his moves and the way he plays. All right, there you go. So Danny,
he's a profile of player Man United don't have. I mentioned at the start of the transfer window, United needed to get a player of his profile first. United don't have that midfielder that can help control games, and that has been a problem with the team for the past 2-3 seasons. United are too easily forced back. They struggle to control games, meaning that their matches are very erratic. It goes here and it goes here, and the chaos is just a bit too much, and it becomes a problem. We saw it against Tottenham Hotspur. We saw it against Nottingham Forest. But this time around, this guy comes in. He has that ability to dictate the tempo, control the tempo of the game, and that is something that Man United needs. And to be honest, he's not on the level of the Rodris and the Jorginhos and the Partys, but he can do that job. When you look at modern day football, you have defensive midfielders being 2-in-1 specialists. So yes, they are ball winners in that sense, and then they also have a very good passing dictating ability. If you look at Caicedo at Chelsea, Jorginho, they look at Partey, look at Rodri, these guys have that ability. But with Man United, United got the last of a dying breed in Casemiro, who is just a raw ball winner, and that passing and dictating ability doesn't necessarily exist in his game. So with Amrabat coming in, you think that these pair playing together obviously gives United that defensive solidity. It helps the defense, which has struggled so far this season. They've conceded is it 4 goals in 3 games already, which is a problem. You expect them to be much more solid in the back line with Amrabat and Casemiro in that midfield. And I'm very happy. I promised viewers that I will dance Agbaja if the deal was completed before. So I have to do it.
You know what you have to do?
Yeah, I have to do it. I have to do it.
So you have to come to fence side.
Wait, dude, and does anybody know any Agbaja song?
No, just give me.
Amrabat.
Daniel, come here. So that's Daniel.
That's serious.
You know, celebrating Sofyan Amrabat's move to Manchester United. Clearly, one player that is very much be looking forward to joining Manchester.
If Chelsea signed Kylian Mbappe, I dance Adoa.
That's like never happening. It's like it's never happening. It's never happening. But I think it's a great move for Amrabat himself. But I was just curious, though, you were talking about the partnership that is going to work best for him. You know, we know Bruno Fernandes is a regular in that United midfield. So take Bruno Fernandes. Which other player do you think will give United the kind of partnership, you know, that will work for Amrabat?
Bruno is more in the offensive third. So you look at Bruno's, the Mounts, they operate in the 10. So that is just behind the striker sort of area. Amrabat and Casemiro are more in the 6s, 8s kind of zone. And I feel that is where that's where his competition will be. It will be Casemiro, Eriksen, Amrabat, Meno when he comes back. These are the guys who operate in that defensive midfield number 8 position. And it is really essential that Man United had to get this transfer down the line. I'll say it again. I mentioned that I started the transfer window. People didn't see the sense in what I was saying, but after 3 games, Ten Hag has pushed and he's finally got his man. And I can boldly say that with Amrabat, things are going to change.
Well, interesting. So that's it. We have to get to the Ghanaian space now because there's been quite a number of transfers. The window was supposed to close today, but there's been an extension to the 8th of September.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy Deadline Day. Fento says anytime he refreshes the touch screen, somebody out there, one of you has sent a message.
Wow.
Absolutely. Well, I'm just being, you know, like
lots of you
minimalist. The window is shut. The window is shut. Window shut.
Now it's paperwork time.
Paperwork time.
Paperwork
now,
time.
you know the rule, right? If you put in the request before the window shuts, you have an extra 2 hours for that move to be processed and done. So if you did your move before 11 BST, British summertime, it can go to 1 a.m. So that's it. That's what it is.
A deal that is not happening is this one. And this is obviously Conor Gallagher. Okay? They called him Kobam Zidane. It's not happened. He was supposed to go to Spurs. And this is a quote one of our viewers, Dominic Same, has brought in, and it's from Carlton Cole. He says, in 2006, I almost joined Spurs. I went and did my medical and everything. Roman Abramovich found out, and he said, you've got to come back. You're not joining them. He said, you can't go to Spurs. I don't do business with them. And that's why he says this deal didn't happen. Chelsea just don't do business with Tottenham Hotspur. And we know the history, don't we?
Yeah.
We know the story, even with what do you call it, with Willian, even with Modric, Luka Modric. Chelsea had the money, they could pay. Levy says, you're not getting Modric. Instead, he sold him to Real Madrid.
Hurricane
too, at some point, yeah. So Conor Gallagher is staying at Chelsea, not happening. Kofi Nenchi, he says, I'm happy we got Amrabat to partner the great Casemiro and Bruno. Our worst signing this summer is that Mason can't even lay one block at work. Greenwood, he's gone. All right, cool. There's more here.
Mason Mount, he means.
And this deal we said you should keep an eye on. It's finally happened, confirmed. Rob Holding, and this is interesting from Karim, a social media guy. He says Rob Holding will now hold the back for Jordan Ayew to score more goals at Crystal Palace. So Rob Holding has completed his move from Arsenal to Crystal Palace. And a Liverpool fan, Kwabena Kweku, says the Premier League is not ready, and he's had a picture of Gravenberch. That's where I want to bring you guys in.
Yeah, but before we do that, I'm told that Oscar Nuati is on Zoom as well.
Oscar is an agent.
He's an agent, yes. Oscar.
But Grady Adams' agent.
Yeah. Oscar, hi. Good evening. And thank you for joining us on Deadline Day. We have just about 22 minutes.
How are you doing?
Yeah, we are doing well. Thank you so much for staying with us. We know how long you've stayed with us as well. I mean, the window is shut in Europe, but we have till the 8th of September for the GPL transfer window to shut as well. We've gone through Hearts, Kotoko. We saw you in a picture with a player signed. When was that picture taken, Oscar?
I think the very first day it came out was the day we.
Some network will show you.
Some network will show you Pepe. Anyway, once we wait for him. Gravenberch, what does he bring to the table?
It's a marriage of convenience for both parties.
Wow.
Because at Bayern, his stocks had fallen so low that they started blaming him for goals the team were conceding. Case in point, that Victoria Pleasant Champions League game last season when he came on by and conceded twice. And so the hierarchy no longer rates successive managers, which is rare that you would have Nagelsmann not rate him and then Thomas Tuchel who comes in and essentially even doubles down and says, this guy has got to go.
Charlie.
So Bayern needed a destination for him and they needed a club to pay the right price. It just so happens that Liverpool also needed a holding midfielder or a central midfielder of any kind.
I was going to ask that. Is he really a holding midfielder?
I don't think so.
Which is what Liverpool need.
Yes.
Because they have enough number 8.
Yes.
Szoboszlai, McAllister.
So here's
they need a proper DM.
You know, it is one of those transfers where I wanted to give the manager the benefit of the doubt. But we did that for Erik ten Hag and Mason Mount. We did that for Mikel Arteta and then Kai Havertz. It's not looking good. Normally, you would want to assume that these managers make these calls with clarity of thought in terms of the job description of the players and what value they can add to the player in the interim, not long term, because it has to work now. Those are areas where the team needs reinforcement.
It's a weakness.
Liverpool. So unless Klopp is going to work some magic, either through the structure, to get the team to play in a manner that makes him look functional without creating problems for the balance of the team, or he's going to coach him to play the way he wants and the way a holding midfielder like Fabinho did in his prime. Otherwise, Liverpool are in trouble. Because there's no skirting around.
Doesn't this smell more or less like the Arthur deal to you?
Arthur Melo.
Yes.
So because it is not as if it's an attacking rule where if Darwin Núñez does not hit the ground running as it happened in his first season, Mo Salah can build a team. But even with that, we saw that the decline was too much for Salah alone to rescue the team.
Yeah.
How much more a holding midfield position? So he either has got to have a magic wand, a magic trick, or there's no skirting around this.
Liverpool have struggled with this position even from last season when Fabinho was around. You could tell his legs were tired. Then he leaves. They tried to go for Lavia and then Caicedo. It didn't work out. They settled with Endo because Endo is not up to that standard. And one would have thought they'll go out. He's 30. One would have thought they'll go out and get a specialist. But Gravenberch is not that. There are aspects of his game that can make shift in that position. But for a sustained period of time, you don't want him in that position. His defensive instinct is not the best. So then he always has that tendency to want to move forward. And that is not somebody you can trust in a number 6 role. So for me, it's a very funny transfer considering they went out and they got 2 specialists in the number 8 position. And then now you've added Gravenberch to it. If you are going to force him to play the 6, I don't think it will work out. But let's give Klopp the benefit of the doubt. If you can give Ten Hag and Mason Mount the benefit of the doubt, then you can clearly give somebody who has actually won the Premier League.
But you see, the situation they find themselves in is a product of, or is a consequence of their stubbornness and trusting Klopp too much. What resulted in Michael Edwards leaving was essentially because at a point the club stopped listening to him.
Yeah.
So the entire recruitment structure they built had Michael Edwards exercising oversight over Klopp. So he vetoed the move for Julian Brandt and insisted on Mo Salah, right? So over time, he proved himself someone who, when he says...
He knew what he was doing.
Since he left, pay attention to the signings that Liverpool have made in the last 18 months. How many of them have hit the ground running? So unfortunately, there is no longer that hierarchy that can forecast the needs of the team. and then scout and find the right profile of players at the right value. Now, the advantage Liverpool had for their success was that when they scout early, they're able to initiate contact very early, do the groundwork, convince the player, and sell a sporting project to the player. That is the advantage so before you come in with your money, they've already turned the player's head, and he's already settled on Liverpool. Yeah. Unfortunately, that advantage is gone. That is why it looks like, as Scranton explained, they've gone to sign 2 attacking midfielders, and the holding midfield role, which was painfully obvious last season, now appears to be an afterthought.
Yeah. At the end,
because it does not look like there is a list in place that they are working with.
Another painful question that has to be answered, Gary, if not, we'll skip it. Somebody said Barcelona have won this transfer window. What is what Joao Felix brings to the team? Danny, you did a whole expose, let me put it that way, on the Barcelona team and why they struggled in Europe, in particularly last season. You look at the business they've done this season, they're still playing in the Champions League as champions of Spain. Did you see them doing better than last season? Have they solved any of the problems with the players they brought in?
Will they do better than last season as in not drop out of the group stages? Yes, because they have a very favorable group. But some of their transfer business has been funny for me, like the last day deal bringing in Joao Felix. Joao Felix he's a very interesting player. For the gifts that he has as an attacking player, he lacks the most important currency for an attacking player, and that is end product. No goals, no assists. So you ask yourself, what exactly is he doing? They've tried him in very different positions out wide. They've tried him behind the striker. They've tried him as a striker, as a false nine. He just doesn't have that instinct, that killer instinct as a player. And he seems to be very interested in entertaining instead of actually doing the job. So I'm really wondering how Xavi is going to mold him into that finished product. But again, if you look at Xavi's track record, you can tell that he knows exactly how he wants his team to play. He knows exactly the players to take them to the next level, or how he wants them to play, the players to bring out exactly what he wants them to do on the pitch. So then I'll be quiet on this one and just see what Xavi has in plan, because again, when somebody has a very good track record, you have to trust the person.
Right, so we still have Oscar on the line. Oscar, let's broaden this from the original topic as well. You're a player agent, right? Oscar, the question I would like to ask is, so coming off the back of Joao Felix and others, does it, in your experience, become Klopp? We have mentioned Klopp as well.
He's a Liverpool fan, so.
And you're a Liverpool fan, that's why I'm asking you.
No, I'm an Arsenal.
No, he's an Arsenal fan. I forgot.
Okay.
He's an Arsenal fan.
I see a lot of red on his timelines. I get confused.
Oscar, to what extent, as a player agent, do your decisions and wants and turning the player's head with money sometimes trump common sense when the team clearly needs a defensive midfielder, but they keep buying a number 8?
Well, Gary, look, it's really, tough, and sometimes I feel for these teams, because probably Liverpool or probably Klopp himself have been looking around for a defensive midfielder and probably getting whatever he wants, simply because of the agent factor and probably the player factor. I would digress a bit and go back to last year, where Kunedi Adams' deal to Heart of Oak and the hula baloo about it, and even on deadline day, we just have to find a way to bring the player back to Accra Heart of Oak. Whereas we had a meeting with Master Santi Kodoko, even as late as 11 p.m. And at the last moment, we just have to talk to the player and tell him, look, we believe that this is what will help you in the near future, maybe with your national team call-up, with your move abroad in future and all that. We feel that probably going to Accra Heart of Oak would suit you better. So, and of course, that financial base comes to play. So it is really tough out there when you are a player agent or probably a coach who wants your target, and the agent might be also looking at, his benefit from the other side. So it makes it very, very difficult and tough for coaches. So sometimes when I read through the portals and I'm in a lot of WhatsApp groups, and maybe supporters or fans of various clubs are agitating and saying that, why can't we, get these players? Other teams are getting these players, and why can't our coach or probably our technical team, get these sort of players for us? It is not as easy as it is. Look, as we speak, I'm still in the office and, trying to make some deals happen and trying to move some players. And you quite rightly asked me that you saw me in a picture with a player to Olympus. Now that we've lost that valuable player, he's actually our, icon. I need to find a way and replace him before, the window shuts Friday. So it is a really tough situation when you see coaches trying to find their target but not landing them or getting the deals.
So Oscar, let me ask you a direct question. There's been a long-held accusation that agents and coaches, for want of a better word, work in cahoots. They connive to get players into teams that you are laughing. I'm not even asking the question, the man is laughing. That coaches or teams don't need. So that's the direct question I'm asking. Like in the Liverpool situation, we've enumerated Mason Mount. He was not exactly what Man United, and it was painfully obvious. Arsenal didn't need a player in the profile of Kai Havertz. And now we've seen Liverpool clearly needed a certain player, but they brought in Gravenberch. To what extent of course, it's not a European transfer, but the principles are the same. And that's what I want to ask, if there's any education for our viewers as a last question.
Look, I have to be very careful here because, we are still in the business. And yes, of course, I, as an agent, need to convince the coach.
No, let me just break it down. As for you are there to sell your player, that's all.
Yes, but look, I need to convince the coach and tell him, yes, you need player who is in this kind of category, but look, I have a player who fits that profile in a certain way. So I'll try as much as I can to convince the coach to, get my player. So sometimes it is not, maybe it's a very delicate situation you find yourself in, because probably the coach wants a proper DM. But I feel that maybe if I bring a central midfielder who could be, shifted to a bit of a defensive way, the coach might buy into my idea. I need to convince the coach. So sometimes that is how it works.
99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Joy headline news 2 coming up. A minority in parliament challenges claims by the police that proposed routes for the Occupy BOG protests could threaten peace and security. Also, government challenge to detail steps being taken to recover the assets of defunct gold dealership firm Men's Gold, as lawyer pins blame on the administration for regulatory lapses. My name is Darryl Kwal. The news now.